Alright, here we go again into the matchup that looks, at least on paper, to be the hardest matchup out of all the options on Wounded Waters. And that is going Roiling Renew into England. And it's especially terrible because, well, for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I just set up the game in the meantime. The first reason is that since you want to force Roiling Waters into Waters Renew, drafting a major is hard. Because if you usually draft a major turn 1 or turn 2 into England, then you just go whatever the major has. If it's a water major, then you go water and serene. If it's an animal major, then you go Roiling and Water's Taste of Ruin. Since we want to force a specific build, we can have misses where we say we draft an animal major and then have to have this conflict between the animal major and Waters Renew, which we cannot both really play in the long term, or at least it costs us. So it kind of incentivizes you to go minors, and then if you play it on minors, it just does a lot of 2 damage, 1 and 2 damage instances, which against England with 3 health towns is just rough, man. I have not played the matchup enough to know whether or not you are still supposed to grab for that major, just because that is, as bad as it might be, still better than hoping to win the game with minors. But I've played a couple of test games with minors and it was very hard, but it worked, so we go minors here. We are looking at minors that either do something good on the board for turn probably 2 and onwards, or that have good elements in the long term. For Waters Renew build, since unlike against many other adversaries where I would try to just hit a really strong turn 3, 4, and 5 and just bank on decimating the adversary enough so the rest of the game is then just easily won. That just doesn't really work against England. So we could Sucking Moose here. It's a water cut, it's 0 cost, it's an isolate. That seems pretty good against England. It is nothing this turn, but that is fine. I didn't really intend to do anything this turn anyway. Maybe you could play Veil of the Night's Hand too, or Court of Migrate. But I'm thinking I'm going Sucking Moose. And then turn 1, I don't think I'm going to play a card. And the reason is that all the cards that I have don't do anything on the board, right? There are some explorers on maybe every board that you can use Boon of Corrupted Blood on to prevent 1 initial build. On this board it would have been on the Sand Explorer, where I could kill the Explorer and then they don't build because there's no 2 adjacent buildings. We did not get that Explorer, which means that all the cards we have just don't kind of really do anything. Bloodwater and Bloodlust and Wreck could both potentially do stuff, but I'm very hesitant to play them now for elemental reasons. And yeah, so what we're looking at is land 3 and land 8 building, and we're just gonna let them build and just take the blight. The innates also don't do anything. Swell and Spill level 1 and Sanguinary Taint. I guess the strongest upside here is that Sanguinary Taint would be 1 fear. And the Dahan movement can be useful at times, but I want my Dahan in land 3. And I don't want to change anything about land 8. So yeah, there's really nothing to do here, I feel. So we're going to skip. The only decision we have to make is whether or not we want to break the tie in favor of animal or water. And that is kind of depends on what you think your next turns are going to be. I think it's likely that we want it to be animal here so that we have the opportunity to heal more water later. Maybe that's a mistake, we will see. We're skipping farmers seek the Dahan for 8. I'm very happy about that. Then we build in land 3, we build in land 8. And then we explore into sands. Well, on the second turn, we can no longer prevent that build, since land 8 has now built. So, yeah, and there's no slow for me. So we're just time passing, and we're drafting a miner, and we're hoping for defense. But, yeah, not so lucky. Teeming Rivers has great great elements, and Blight Heal is also really good into the adversary. Because it allows you, like, the main disadvantage of letting England just do its thing is that eventually you will run out of Blight, and also the 6 building rule. We can sort of deal with the 6 building rule, but the Blight can be problematic, and so there's an argument for playing Teeming Rivers here. Definitely gonna draft it out of all of these. I mean, in theory, the Badlands from this shore, see this with hatred, could be played here. The argument would be that we tend to have 2 damage pings, maybe 3 damage for turn 3 and 4, and then no longer. And those do better with Badlands because they upgrade again, but it's gonna be in 1 land. Who knows if that's even gonna be relevant. In multiplayer, maybe you guys stretch this, but I think we are playing for the long term, and playing for the long term means playing for elements. Okay. The question then is, maybe with Sucking Ooze there was a chance to play something turn 1. We'll see. So I think that land requires no action, except maybe that we finally see defense in our drafts. But I don't have a lot of control over that happening. We need to gather the Blight out of here, which we've done. We need to place the presence, different land, which we've done. Place it in land 6, I guess. Seems fair. And then we need to decide what we're gonna play here. I could play Draw to the Water's Edge. Just say we're not even gonna gamble land 3. Land 3 is just not gonna build. Sorry, not gonna... What do you say? Land 3 is just not going to Blight. I mean, there's still plus damage event, but there's no way to play around these. And I think, in a way, Draw to the Water's Edge and Teeming Rivers have kind of the same effect on the board. And that with both of these cards, they reduce the number of Blight I take, or I have, next turn from +2 to +1. But Teeming Rivers has better elements. Draw to the Water's Edge can be more useful in some circumstances, but I'm thinking I'm gonna play it. Which means I need to place in here. I'm fine with that, I still have full coverage of everything. And then I'm going to draw that town into land 2. And then I'm probably gonna flip an event that has Dahan defend and be unhappy. But I mean, what can you do? I'm already gambling that land on Dahan defend. Gambling 2 lands on Dahan defend just seems pretty dangerous. So we draw to the Water's Edge into land 2. We figure that is a good land because it has disease and there's really not that many options here. That is also an issue, huh? Nothing to be done. And that was my quick. We flipped the event. It did not have Dahan defend. Alright, Hardworking Settlers. Oh man, I tend to not like that either. So, act cautiously in the background. We could push some Dahan. I wouldn't hate that. Could add a town. That could be alright. I mean, it's dangerous against England, but it's probably not lethal. And then we would ravage in land 8, which means it ravages twice, which means that we cascade. That Hardworking Settlers top side is really just a check of whether or not you're a defense spirit. If you're a defense spirit or if you have drafted defense, then the top side is good. And if it's not, then you rarely can take it. It's just too fucking awful. That's at the bottom. I can skip a blight in land 8. I wouldn't hate that. I would get a fear. I wouldn't hate that either. I shorten the game by 2 cards. That is... I think that can work. I think usually... So what that does is that you get your game gets harder quicker because you hit turn 3, stage 3 earlier, and then you also may run out of time. I'm not gonna run out of time, I don't think, but the game getting harder by hitting stage 3 earlier might be... Still, I think it's what we've got to do. I'm not taking 3 blight here. It's a 4 blight swing between top and bottom, right? Bottom prevents a blight and top adds 2 blight, I guess. So the difference is 3 blight swing. Alright, we're gonna skip land 8. We're going to add a fear. We're going to remove invader cards and hope that we scale strong enough. Probably have to draft a mage eventually. And then beast counts as badlands. I doubt that will be relevant, but I'll just place that here and we'll see. So land 3, we're gonna ravage and the explorer dies. Land 8, the ravage is skipped. Land 4, they built a town. Land 7, they built a town. We explore into mountain. And then it's slow. In slow we only have Sword and Spill. I wouldn't hate pushing a Dahan into here so it full clears, but I don't have the Dahan in position, so... The next best thing is maybe doing something in these lands, or getting the Dahan out of land 3. If I had defend... I could push the Dahan into here and set it up to be another 2 Dahan land. The issue is with England that these 2 lands stand to ravage and then survive the ravage with 1 HP, and I might be able to snipe one of them using one of my innates, but I'm not sure I can snipe both of them, especially since I want to act in lands 1 and 6 to prevent further blight, right? Acting in lands that have already ravaged is kind of a waste. I think currently we're resolving ourselves to letting land 4 just die and add the hand to land 2, which is pretty central. It's a bit dangerous to be in lands with disease, but I don't see a better play. And pushing stuff out of here just does nothing. That is what I mean when I say that my innates just don't really do a lot. At most they like move some Dahan around. Congrats. Turn 3, we draft a miner. I would have really loved to see Bloodrust Predators. That's the kind of miners we need here. That's a miner that we can use, I think. Roiling Bork and Snacking Thorn has good elements, is a 0 cost. Regrettably, it requires a Sacred Site, but I mean the other options are not that strong anyway, right? And I guess with Visions of Fiery Doom I could prevent that blight here. But I can take some blight. I've not taken any blight yet. I should take some blight. And that defend 2 in the isolate could be very helpful, honestly. I'm not sure if I'm gonna play it this turn. Gonna draw the blight into land 2. It's a bit awkward, and that if Wetlands Explore comes up, I don't have enough turns to gather them both, so I need to save one. But I think we're on track to activating, and that allows us to save stuff there. Alright. So land 1 and 6 might be dangerous. I think I want a Sacred Site, so I guess I'm placing in land 5. They're going to ravage and blight here and here, huh? Could do that and place something like... No, Teeming Reverse doesn't work on 2. Blight. Trying to decide whether or not I want to have my Sacred Site in land 2 or land 5. They both have a lot of coverage, but land 5 covers like both the chase and both relevant lands, I guess. And then I also want to decide what cards I play. I really would like to hit Sanguinary Taint in turns 3 and 4. So Sanguinary Taint level 2 at least, because then we get up to 3 damage, and 3 damage actually does things. It only kills towns, it doesn't kill cities, but at least it does anything. And the same is just not true of the level 1 innate here. The alternative is Swell and Spell level 2, which is good in preventing Blight. It can push a lot of stuff around, but it doesn't really kill anything. We're not Serene. Pushing does not downgrade. So if I want to use Sanguinary Taint level 2, then I cannot play Roiling Bog. But I think that's fine. We haven't taken any Blight yet. Gonna take maybe 2 Blight here and then heal 1. Seems fine. And then play something like Wreck with Pain and Grief to work on the Ravage next turn. I'm probably gonna take that Blight too. Or at least I don't see a good way to prevent that right now. So do I want to go Animal or Water here? Next turn I'm probably gonna play something like these cards. It kind of depends what I draft next turn. There's another thing that I could be doing. I could be... Oh, I've already played Drought with the Water's Edge, so there's an argument to not play Teeming Rivers now. So one thing that I've did this game is I didn't play a card turn 1, which means I have 1 more card in my hand compared to where I usually would be. Which means that you can usually reclaim your, prolong your reclaim cycle by 1 if you want to. Just because you have more energy available. Didn't pay the cost for that card you didn't play, and also have more cards in hand. And if that is the case, then usually you want to make sure that on turn 5 you can still hit Water's Renew in full strength, and that requires a combination of like Teeming Rivers and then another card with water and plant and then a card with water and just water. So I'm thinking maybe which means that if I play these 2 cards this turn, then I can no longer hit Water's Renew at full strength. And I really think I need these city replacement with Dahan to get ahead on the board. So maybe I'm not playing it this turn. And that means I play this card. Is that correct? And then I play like these 3 cards the turn after, maybe, plus whatever I'm drafting. That seems good enough to hit. Oh, Okay, that works, but then I need to break in favor of water this turn, I think. That's a bit dangerous. Oh, sorry, I cannot break in favor of water. I need to break in favor of animal. Never mind, because I need to go roiling for the build. And then turn 5 I play teaming and I get 1 draft and 1 reclaim 1. And I think with that it works. Actually with the reclaim 1 I don't need draw to the Water's Edge turn 5. I just need another animal plus... I mean Teeming Rivers would be good, but... Could play that. And then reclaim Teeming Rivers. Doesn't solve that land. Actually it does. Yeah, it does. Okay, I think that is what we're doing then. Because I would like to stay healthy for as long as I can. Alright, let's flip that red card. We are not acting in quick. The hand trade with the invaders. I could take the top option or the second option. I would have to pay energy for the second option, which I'm not gonna discard a card, probably. Could discard Boon of Corrupted Blood and just play the regular build, where I go 3 plays next turn, play these 3 cards, and then reclaim. That would maybe not be terrible either. So I could do that. It would generate a fear. It would push... Sorry. It would mean that these Dahan... One of these Dahan dies. So basically... And then I get 2 damage on the town. And I'm set up so I could kill it if I wanted to. I could solve that. I could let that through. So the question is, am I okay with losing to Dahan there for a bit more fear? I think the answer is regrettably yes. I think I am discarding Rune of Corrupted Blood. And destroy this Dahan, take 1 fear, Outbreak Shift. Yeah, push that into land 1. It's a little bit dangerous because I kind of wanted that here to act as insurance against bad events, but you know, nothing to be done. Then they double build because we don't have a fear card yet. But we are playing the fear maximizing routes, right? And then this flights, rip my presence, and then this flights, and I lose it to Han, and that's just 2 damage to that town. And then they don't build in land 1, and they do build in land 6. And then they explore coastal. Interesting. That might be good, that might be bad, I'm not sure. And then I'm playing... Alright, now we're in slow, which is basically where we want to act. We are Bloodwater and Bloodlusting this land. It's kind of awkward, it would be good to Bloodlust the coast, but it's the only way to kill that. That I know of anyway. Is it? Yeah, because Violence Spill doesn't... Actually... I know of a different way to do that. So we had that town here, right? On 1 HP. And I didn't see a play to kill it, but I see one now, and that is... using Sanguinary Taint on land 6. I was going to do that anyway. And then push the Dahan, and then I can push the Dahan into here with Swell and Spell. Dahan position is now not optimal, honestly. But it allows me to use Bloodwater and Bloodlust on one of my coastal lands, which I think would be pretty good. I'm probably letting a couple of these go. I also would like to spread my beasts, maybe. I'm taking lands. So land 2 would be the obvious choice. The downside is kind of that placing Disease in land with the Dahan is dangerous. Could do it here too. I just don't see a way to... get rid of that city anytime soon. Is that land solvable if it is diseased? And the answer is probably yeah. The answer is probably yeah. Okay. Then here we go, I think. That was my slow. And it was the slow that... No, never mind. I still have Teeming Rivers. And I'm using it here, I'm thinking. Alright, back to 2 Blight on my Blighted Island card. And I think then we're going this play where we just go the very regular build of taking... Fuck. No, perfect, exactly perfect, never mind. This turn I'm playing, I have to heal water, and then next turn I heal water, and then I hit exactly my build. I'm telling you, having to hit the build is like having to have exactly 2 animal and then 3 water is just complicating things unnecessarily, but what can you do? I played these cards, mostly because I have them. I get to move one of my presences. I've added one and I get to move one, that's how that works. Am I gonna solve that land? The answer is I'm gonna try, probably, yeah. If that explorer was dead, I could isolate there. Nothing to be done. If I still had Boon of Corrupted Blood, I could kill that and then isolate it. Not too bad. At least it's gonna be a fear card this turn, and then probably a fear card the turn after. Yeah, let's just go into quick. So, use Sucking Moose on some land. Maybe land 2. So I don't get another Explorer in here that I don't want. And then use Roiling Bog and Snagging Thorn to isoland and defend 2 in land 1. I don't know what we could draw that defends that. Actually, there's some events that allow me to push the Explorers and then that is defended. And that was my quick. And we hit event. We still have the heavy farming. Towns do extra damage. That is fine. Each beast destroys one explorer. That is just not enough, man. If I had one more beast in there, then it would have been enough. And I get the Han. I love it. Overall good event. And then I get to add a strive to a town, which probably gonna go here, right? I'm not sure if I need that. Let me think about that for a second. It will build, and it will not build because it wasn't a disease skip. So it will be in this state in slow, which means it will also be in this state in next quick. If it's in this state in next quick, then I use Water's Renew to replace the city, maybe? No, I think it's good this way. Maybe I could also save this land though. Let's edit here. I think I can save that land more than one way. Maybe having the strife in land 2 would add more fear, but I think having it in land 3 prevents more blight. Alright. We build. We ravage in land 2. Sorry, in land 1. And we did not get saved from that. And then we build. We don't build that city because of the disease, and we build that town here. Okay. And then we explore jungle. Is it our last stage 2 cut? No, it's not. And we escalate. And we don't have any options. We have to escalate into land 8. I hate that because it means that I now have to start using actions on that land too, which I really would like to avoid. Okay. I have Wreck, and I have Swell and Spell and Sanguinary. What would I like to do? I think I would like to solve land 2 and solve land 3 and let land 1 go. It's gonna build and then ravage, and we are fine with that, I think. So, can I solve them both? I could also need to add at least... Ideally, I pull 2 from there. I can do that next quick. I can pull them into land 5. Okay, I think land 8 is solved using Draw to the Water's Edge next turn, which we can do because we... What is that? Are going to reclaim after all. So needs no actions. I have a little bit of damage this turn. Perhaps even enough to kill something. Like I could push from here into there. So let me think about land 2 again. Let's say I push out a town here into land either 1 or into land 4. Let's say I push out a town. Then it's at a town and a city, and next turn I Water's Renew on it. Does 2 damage, which does not do a lot. And it kills it replaces a town with the Han, I think is perfect. Yeah, so I think I can use Swell and Spill on this land, 1 fear, then push, say, these 2 into here. I can also push the Blight if I want to. I think I'm okay with the Blight being there. Yeah. And that does 2 damage here. 2 damage to that town at the bottom, I guess. And then I'll then I'm Sanguinary Tainting it. 1 damage, push that to Han into land 4. Kill that. And then that is my Sanguinary Taint, my Swell and Spill. My land still does not look solved. Yeah. Really nothing to do against that city. Actually, maybe snagging. We'll see. Probably not. Maybe. And then we wreck. Okay. So here's the line of play that works. Yeah, here's a line of play that works. Instead of killing the town there, we killed the 2 explorers. I did 2 damage. No, I did 3 damage here, huh? What? Oh, I subtracted 2 fear when I wanted to subtract 1 fear. Add it back, I guess. So I should take... I think this is correct. And this is correct, I think. Okay. Alright. If I do 3 damage in here... Okay, I guess we just push the 2 with... Okay, let's see. Let's just push these 2 back. This is the initial position. I push these 2 into here. And I push that into, say, here. Killing these 2. Then I use Sink and Retain wherever I want. Don't need it anymore because I use Wreck with Pin and Grief to push that out, and now this land is defended by Roiling Book and Snagging Thorn. And I still have Sink and Retain left open. And I need to... And I think that is the correct amount of fear. So what do I want to do with that? I think I want to start on that. Kill that explorer, push the Dahan into somewhere where it's more useful. Actually, that is also 1 damage, right? Alright. Yeah, turns in this game are hard. I'm a reclaim, I'm again a major, I have cards that I can't forget. I have to heal water, I have to play... Those majors are hard, man. This is not a card. I don't think we can draw here. I don't think the 15 damage is enough against England. It's a card that you play when you want to close out the game. We are far from closing out the game, and it does not do enough against England, is what I believe. This is bad and off element. So this is unfitting for the situation, I believe. This is just bad and off element. This is terrible, and I don't care about it being on element. And instruments is fucking expensive if you cannot hit the threshold, and we're never going to hit the threshold. So out of all these, this is the card that I'm going to play the most. I'm most likely to play, but I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. Alright. Then let's add that and maybe this card for a bit more fear. No, I need to snagging here, right? I need to do that, and I think that would be... So this is a line of play that hits my... I could maybe play it if I have the energy and I get to 4 places. What's happening here? Alright, we are using Snogging, what is it? Roiling Bog and Snagging Thorn on land 3 to defend. Then we hit What is Renew at full strength. We don't need to gather into here. And I think I'm not going to. I'm adding a beast that does 1 damage to that town. And then I'm replacing it with the Han and defend for 3. I'm going to gather that blight into here. I'm going to take a blight here and go blighted island. I'm going to defend this land. I'm going to defend this land. And that city will be, or a city or a town in here will be on a bit of reduced HP, but maybe I can kill that in slow. Let's event. Eager Explorers, terror level 1. Sure. Beast Chase of Homesteaders. Last turn, Beast Chase of Homesteaders would have saved us a blight. This turn it really doesn't. I could perhaps... No, I cannot push from here, which Oh, I forgot to execute. What is that? Sorry. That is the thing that happened. Rolling ball and draw to the water's edge both executed. Okay, back to the event. I get to push buildings. I get fear for Dahan. I get a lot of fear from Dahan being allied with cities. But I'm not sure where I should be pushing my stuff to. I probably should push this into here. That way they don't build a city in there. That's the best I can do. Then let's build. We build once? No, sorry. Then let's add the gates demanding redress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Land 2, land 3, and land 8 all qualify, right? So that was that. Then fear cards, terror level 1. Remove 1 explorer from a land matching a ravage card. Sure. Replace 1 town with 1 explorer, each player who does 1 fear. Sure. I think that is probably useful. And I could have also done it here. No, that's fine. And that also gives us the last fear card as terror level 2. Invaders do -1 damage per damage they have taken on each board in a land matching a ravage card, 1 damage to up to 2 invaders. I wish I had 2 damage on that city, but maybe I'll be able to do something in slow. Alright, now the invaders actually get to act. They build here. Then this ravages. This ravages, and I need to decide. I think I'm killing that town. And then this ravages, and we flip. Let's see what we get. Power corrodes the spirit. So basically a downward spiral version. I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't like it, but I don't need that many presences on the board. I'm not Serene. The first successful build action actually was probably that one, huh? But there was no adjacent land without invaders, so I guess that's not relevant. Now the regular build actions where we build this and this, and then we have our last turn, last stage 2 card due to the first event we draw on, and an escalation, and the escalation has a couple of options. No, it must go in land 4. This is still safe, so I'm okay with that. Alright, that's my slow. I have Bloodwater and Bloodlust, and I have Silent Spill. Ideally I would do something about that city, and I can actually kill it, so maybe I'll just do that. Not sure about the town. And then can I do something here? And the answer is probably yeah. Maybe. What would my next turn look like? Wreck and draw and probably sacking ooze or something. Which also means that if I clear that land, then it doesn't build. So there's so many reasons to do that. Okay. So let's build 1 fear. Push that explorer into here. Push that the Dahan and that beast into here, killing that city. Then that was my silence spell, and now my Bloodwater and Bloodlust. Could use it on land 4 or on land 6 or on land 8. Do I need it on land 8? I will draw in 1 Dahan and add a beast. That's 2 damage and kills 2 explorers. Then I'll replace the city with a Dahan, leaving me with an explorer, a city, and a town, and 6 damage against 3 defend. Then I'll draw out a town. So that'll be 4 damage against 3 defend, which means I don't need any help on land 8. Which means I should probably add the fear and the beast here. Alright. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do anything about that land. Maybe I'll just let it blight. Game is hard. Time passes. Alright. I'm opening that. I'm gaining an energy. I'm reclaiming Draw to the Water's Edge. And Rack with Pain and Grief. I play from hand. And Sucking Ooze. Can I hit my full Water's Renew next turn? Yeah, as long as I draft a water card between this and next turn. Do I need a sacred site this turn? No, I don't. Do I need to be in any special lands? Yeah, I need to be. I need to draw that town out into a land that is as non-threatening as possible, so probably into land 6. So I'll place him there. Do I need to be in any other land? No. So I can't draft a card. So let's do that. I would love to go domesticated animals, but I think I require the... water. I mean, I cannot domesticated animals this turn. I just can't. I mean, I could if I place into land 8. But I would lose my downgrade, my replacement, and I need the Tahan. England has so much health, I need all the Tahan counter-attack damage I can get. I would love domesticated. I think I need steam ones. Let me think about this. Next turn, I'm playing Teeming Rivers and a card that I take from discard, and instruments, and a card I draft now. And I would like to hit 3 water, so I need the water card. As overpriced as it is. Nothing to be done here. Alright, and then that was my growth. I'll go water here. I'll pay the energy. I cleared that land, so I can now sucking use it, which means it will not build. I'll gather into here that town with draw to the water's edge, and then Water's Renew. I'll draw that into here, and add that beast, killing 2 explorers. I'll replace that city with a Tahan. I defend for 3. And that is that power. It's crazy how much staying power England has, man. I feel like I'm doing a lot every turn, and it's just England. They're just so hard. I will place presences next turn, so I can afford to lose this presence. Let's flip the event. We are no longer healthy. We are cash crops takes hold. Invaders immediately ravage and one terrain type not showing under any invader action. I think that's just not something I can deal with. Sands would be 4 blight or something. And mountain would be 3 blight or something. No, 4 blight too. So I need to destroy presence. I can destroy this presence, and for the last presence I can destroy this presence. I'll place 2 presences next turn. Ouch. Beast Provoke. Add 1 beast to a land without blight that has a town. Yeah, I kind of wanted more here, honestly. But I do. Okay, never mind. I do get the Hunt Defend, so I'm not going to complain. I think there's only this land that has a town but no blight. So. And then canny defense. 1 dimer, 1 defend per Tahan. And then terror level 2, each player removes 1 town from a land with Tahan. I wish I could, man, I really wish I could. I have to remove that explorer. Otherwise I'll have to remove that town, and that would be catastrophe. Oh, I forgot, never mind. Never mind. I fucked it up, but I got saved. I will use that to remove the town from land 3, and then they will build, which I had completely forgotten. I had remembered here, but I had forgotten about land 3. I'm not sure I could have done that much, but maybe. I mean, I just don't have enough defend cards. Whatever. Problem for a different time. This at least does not build because it's isolated. And then we ravage. This dies, this dies, this dies. Alright, man, we need all the fear we can get. And then we don't build here again. And this is diseased. So we are flipping terror level 3. Oh, sorry, stage 3. I keep confusing these. And one thing that is kind of nice, I mean, being in stage 3 is generally bad, but at least it means you can no longer get an England escalation in terrible lands like land 4. Which is good against some kind of event luck, or rather event misfortune that you're kind of protected against. So I could clear out land 5 if I wanted to. I could just completely clear it out using Swirl and Spill and Wreck. It would not kill anything though, and I kind of debating if I can get some kills in here somehow. Or if that is about as good as it's going to get. Would push it out into land 7, huh? I think I need something to stay in there. I'm going to hit Waters Renew next turn, which means that I will have defense and Dahan, and I really need all the fear from the counter attacks that are possible. So I don't want to full clear land 5. Alright, what else do I could full clear land 6 instead. The only issue is that it's kind of awkward in that I don't have many lands to push into, and these seem more dangerous. I would push into land 1, but the issue is that it will build up to 6 buildings, and then any event kills me. And even if the event doesn't kill me, I'll have a land that is so large that Waters Renew doesn't really solve it. Okay. What do I need in here for Waters Renew to solve it next turn? I will get instruments without the threshold, which means that I can kill like a town somewhere. Maybe a town in land 1 or something. I mean, imagine the game in which I play instruments multiple times on land 4. Just, every consecutive use is a little bit better. Would that not be the saddest instruments game ever? It's already like, yeah, maybe 4 energy to kill 1 town is a lot of energy, but if you do it twice, then the second time around it kills 2 towns. Oh man. Oh well. That aside, what am I gonna do here? I wanted to find out how much I need. I am pushing in a Dahan and adding a beast that's 2 damage and kills the Explorer if I need that. And then it defends for 3 and replaces. So basically it solves that land already. 1 town gets replaced, the Explorer gets killed, and then that's 3 defend against 2 towns. And 6 Dahan retaliate to kill them too. Don't need anything there. That means Sword and Spill and Wreck. So I could do something like play Swell and push something into land 1 and push something into land 8 and then push from land 8 into land 7. I could also push from land 8 into land 6, the issue, and I kind of want to get my Dahan there, but the issue doesn't kill anything. It never does against England. To kill against England, you need a land like this. You can push out of here 2 beast and a Dahan, and then it can kill a town. Of course, it means you don't push any towns, but I mean, yeah, I don't see anything better. 1 fear, push that here, push that here, push that here, and then 2 fear, push these 2 into here. Is it great? Hell no. Can I think of a better play? You know the answer. Alright, we're going to 3, we gain energy, we take 3, we place 2 presences, which we desperately need. Maybe into land 6, I would like to start pulling Blight out of dangerous lands again. Maybe land 8 too. And then I can play these cards together with Wreck. And they cost 7 energy, which is so overpriced to play instruments without the kicker. That's such a good card if you can hit the kicker, honestly. Instruments, one of the best cards in the game if you can do that. But if you're a spirit that will just never hit it, and you're playing solo, so it's not like you're gonna get element support, then it can be really sad. Alright, I wanted a Sacred Site too for both of these cards, which means I must choose between these, and I think I'm choosing that. pull that into here, so if something goes wrong here, it doesn't cascade. Steam vents. I guess. I'm kidding that. Instruments. I'll add just drive to that city and it kills that town. It's about as good as it's going to get, I guess. And then the last thing I can do is sanguinary taint. Pull in these two, add a beast, replace that town, kill that explorer, add 3 defend. And yeah, well, replace that town means I should also add that Dahan. And go into quick. I need to destroy something. Ouch, probably that one, huh? It allowed me to pull the blight into here and did its job. Then I'm still terror level 2. Pull together in adversity. Ignore 1 strife on each invader. Better it happens this turn than next turn. Explorers blunder on each board. Destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts. Yet explorers are really not my big issue. I could have used it like 3 turns ago in that land, but don't know. The hand defend. I'll take that. Add 2 strife to a single card not matching a ravage. Oh my god, that is actually good. Alright, we built here, we built here. Maybe we're getting closer to that one. Then we ravage in land 2, nothing happens. We ravage in land 5, and they all die. And we build in land 5, we build in land 6, we build in land 1, and we build in land 2. And then we explore wetlands and sands. Sands is my 5 building land, huh? I'm not that close to terror level 3 yet. We will see. I think Teeming Rivers probably heals that blight, but I want to explore all my options first. Maybe I'm just off 1 damage somewhere, and instead I'll take it for use it for the damage. I have Silence Spell. I can use it into land 5, and I can even do 3 damage, but as I said, I cannot push any towns if I do that, so should probably not do that. How does this land look after I've sanguinary tainted it? Sorry, not sanguinary tainted. What has renewed it? It will have 3 Dahan. It will have 2 damage, which are irrelevant probably as always. And then basically it just kills like 2 turns in there. It will not build, and I could push the town from land 5 into there. I could also push the town from land 2 into there. I have Wreck with Pain and Grief. I cannot push them both. I can push into here or into there. Okay, I'm thinking Wreck with Pain and Grief. These into here. I mean, there's some events that do 1 damage per beast, right? That would kill a town here, for example. And then there's Sword and Spell, 1 Fear. Push this into here so it can die. This into here. I think that is fine, right? Yeah, it dies to the damage. And then I still get to push a beast and a Dahan. Push like these 2 into here, killing these. Alright. That was my slow? No, it wasn't. So I could kill a town here if I wanted to. Or heal a blight. I cannot do that on sands because my last damage would come from teaming, and teaming does not work on these kind of lands. Alright, let's just heal that blight then. In terms of blight taken, we are looking quite good. We have 4 blight on the board, which means we've taken 2 blight. I mean, we've taken 3 and then healed a bunch or whatnot, or taken 4 and then healed 2. And we are, in fact, unhealthy. The issue is that we removed cards from the invader deck, so we are kind of on a timer here. We climb, and also we have downward spiral, which is just perfect. Gain energy. I think we draw for a better major here. I also have another card that I would not mind forgetting in Steam Vents. That card is just not worth 1 energy. Not even a little bit. So let's gain a major. There are some water majors here. Accelerated drop. I mean, I can probably hit the threshold, and maybe that makes it good. It's usually, like, it's a bad card, but it has perfect element fit, and I can probably hit the threshold. Maybe that saves it. Then there's weave together the fabric of place. I'm never ever going to hit the threshold. So the only thing it does is it combos, and I don't think we have the combo pieces for it. There are no other players on the board that can use a hammer on the board on the land we weave. Also, it has really anti-synergy with the England loss condition. Can easily accidentally kill yourself that way. And I think 4 energy just to weave together 2 lands and then also having to have some other big powers. It's just... Look, I don't have that much energy. Okay. I was wondering there, talking about not having enough energy, if I was going to be able to play 4 cards this turn, but the answer is yeah, I have a 0 cost. Dream of the Untouched Land. I mean, 3 health worth of invaders is just not that much against England. And we're not dying to Blight anytime soon, so if I play that, I have to play it for bottom, and I'm never hitting the threshold, so at least that leaves Savage Transformation, and yeah, well. So I guess it's Accelerated Rot or keep Instruments. That is... I think a better draft here. I mean, I'm going to start by getting real energy starting next turn. 6, 7, 8 energy over the next 3 turns, and I also need to get... I need to get towards the victory condition. So that's that, and the question is, which do I forget here? And I think I forget Steam Vents. I'm probably gonna play Instruments again. Alright. The cards I have to play here are these 2 and at least Sucking Ooze. And that guarantees that I hit Water's Renew at full strength. And then I can, if I want to, play something like this card to hit the Swirl and Spill full strength. What does my next turn look like? These 4 cards then, plus minus what I'm taking from the Reclaim, huh? Probably can only play one of these 2, honestly. But that hits my innates again, I think. Perhaps even at full strength. Like if I play these cards and then something like Rack with Pain and Grief, I again hit all of my innates. And I can pay for it, I think. Yeah, I can. Alright, so that is the plan, and we are not playing Instruments. Okay. Now I've chosen my cards, I should Sucking Ooze again. And again I should Sucking Ooze one of these 2 lands probably. Yeah, that is another thing. It's just gonna... I should probably draw to the Water's Edge out of land 6. Which, because it's gonna Blight, right? I want to use Water's Renew on that. The board is just not clean enough for the natural reduction and England builds yet. It would need to be a whole lot cleaner. Currently I'm looking at 4 Ravages that all Blight due to these 2 building, and I have 1 card that prevents that with Sucking Ooze. I have... Do I need to play Roiling here? Roiling Spock and Snagging Thorn would prevent another one, honestly. And maybe that is what I need to play. And that gives up on Swell and Spill max level. Can I play some different cards so that that still works? Maybe? Maybe, yeah. Okay, so I would like to play Roiling for the defend. I would like to play Draw to solve land 6. I would like to play Sucking Ooze for the Isolate. And then... Actually don't need to defend once it's isolated. So if I play these 3 cards, then that solves land 2, 5, and 6. I guess it doesn't... Yeah, it does. Actually, it does. And land 1 is solved by Waters Renew. But I don't think I can then still hit... Oh, not my intention. None of these have animal. So I'm not gonna hit Svalland spell. Level 3. No matter what else I play. Alternatively, I could take 1 Blight here by not playing Draw to the Water's Edge and playing Teeming Rivers instead. Would also heal the Blight again after, right? And just say land 6 will go through. That cost me nothing, I think. And then I play, say, one of these 2 cards. The better card to keep in terms of element is Wreck. But I have enough plant. And I think that hits again. So wait, next turn I need 3 plant. And 3 sun. So I need to reclaim Teeming Rivers. But that works, right? Let me just see how the... Wait, yeah, that only costs 2, right? Let me just see how these elements work out next turn. Yeah, that hits everything. Perfect. Oh man. Then here we go. We Sucking Ooze land 2. No fear sadly, but what can you do? We Roiling back and Snagging Thorn land 5. That's 1 fear, and that's a isolate, and ideally that would have been a defend too, but I mean, and I guess it's also a defend, but it's isolated. Land 6 we're just going to ignore. The last slow quick power we have is Waters Renew. Actually, can pull out of here then, since we're not gonna defend here now. Pull these 2 into here, and that does 1 damage. Add a beast that does like 1 more damage to say that town here. Yeah, that seems good. And then we replace that city here with a Dahan, and that kills a town in a city, and a defense for 3. I'd rather have a little bit more fear, but I'll take it. We have to destroy a presence, we're destroying this presence. Do we? I could also forget a card. No, actually I don't. So I could kill that presence. Which means I don't get to act in land 2 and slow. I think that is fine. Land 2 will not do anything. Land 2 is isolated, so I guess I'm forgetting this instead. And I keep my Sacred Site, which means I can keep using Teeming. And then next quick I'm gonna place 2 more presences again. Fucking power corrodes. Alright, event. We are terror level 2, still. Invaders do more damage in lands that I'm not in, that I have presence in, but it's not relevant to me. I get more Explorer Destruction from my beasts. I want either a damage event from my beast or a fear event from my beast, but this shit doesn't do it. And then Rouse the Spirit. I can now use a slow power. No, I cannot because I don't have any Dahan in my land because I'm in no lands. Wouldn't have done it anyway. Immigration accelerates. I get to remove buildings from coastal lands. Okay, that is nice. I think I'm supposed to remove a town here, right? Because they're gonna build here next. And then they build in land 2, but it's isolated, and in land 5, but it's isolated, and then they ravage in land 2, and then land 5, but they're isolated, and then land 6 adds a blight, and then land 3 I kill that city and that town loses its strife. And then they build in land 2, but it's isolated, and 5, but it's isolated, and they build in land 7, and then 4. 4, yeah, that was baiting the last condition there. Ideally, I don't, like, this is up to 6. If I had gotten a town ad event, I would have died. My defense is the game is hard. Everything about this game is hard. Maybe it was correct to play around that and use an action to prevent that option, but it's probably correct to ignore it and pretend it doesn't happen, because if it happens, we lose or something. Not sure. Alright, now I'm in slow. Teaming reverse. Again, I want to see if I need the damage, but I probably don't. So just heal that blight. And then wreck with Pain and Grief. The relevant lands are 2 and 5, but they are, as long as I can defend them next turn or something, which will be hard. I have wreck with Pain and Grief. I have Sword and Spell. And I kind of want to do that in here, right? Or either I could push into here, or I could push out of here, one of the two. Where's my... I only have wreck on that, right? Those are the only options. Maybe I would have liked to pull out of here, but I'm no longer chasing to that. So I can heal that blight. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe I should have stayed in here. But it's too late now. Could push out of here. The downside is that it doesn't do anything about land 4. Could push out of here. The downside is it doesn't do anything about land 4 either. I could push out of land 1. Maybe that's not so bad. Kill a town here, do a lot of downgrading. It's not a particularly relevant land right now, but I mean... Also I prevent the city build. And I think I'm going for the city win condition. Actually, city win condition. I can prevent that land from having any cities. Yeah, I think I see the victory here. Well, how much fear do I need? 3. Okay, Evan. My god. Alright. We're playing Sword and Spell on level 1. 1 fear. Push that town into here. Push that explorer into here. Sorry, that Dahan into here. That Dahan, that beast. I guess we're not pushing that town. We're pushing 2 beasts into here. So what happens is that the pushing did 3 damage, say, to that city. And then it added 1 fear innately. I've already added that. And then it downgrades everything, every building in here. So this city becomes a town. And the town dies because it has 3 damage. And then these 3 get turned into explorers. And these 2 get turned into towns. And I'm 1 fear away from the city victory, and 1 city away from the city victory. I use wreck with Pain and Grief, pull these out of here. And now I'm in terror level 3. And then time passes. I play the cards that I decided I wanted to play last turn. 1, 2, 3. Pay. Place 2 presences, 1 in here, 1 in there. Flip. We use Water's Renew, right? This one. On land 7, adds a beast, gathers a Dahan, does 2 damage, kills that explorer, who cares? And replaces the city with a Dahan. My god. This matchup. Oh man. I'm pretty happy that I've got it out of the way, honestly. How often did you hear me say, and then we do 2 damage, and it doesn't do anything? I guess it kills an explorer. That is just really annoying. I don't think the win was guaranteed here. We could have died to last turn to town at event in land 4. I don't think we were ever in danger of losing in any other turn. And looking at the victory screen right now, I believe that I could have probably taken 1 more blight and still prevented that option in land 4 of killing us with a bad event. So there was probably a way to play this perfectly, in which even a plus town event last turn doesn't kill us, and still win this turn by killing all the cities or downgrading or replacing or whatnot. So not 100% perfect play. I'm still pretty happy, I have to say. The strategy, I think, was mostly to get through the late game, and I think that worked fairly well. I got to use Sanguinary Taint level 2 once. I would have been able to use it a second time maybe if I played a couple of cards differently, but I was pretty constrained in what cards I could play at what turn by the healing markers and the need to play the specific build of Roiling into Water's Renew. Got a couple of lucky drafts. Teaming Rivers is great elements. The Blight here was fine. We could have also done without a little bit more Blight here. Like, if I go down 3 more Blight, I'm still fine. But the elements are really nice. I don't regret picking that up at all. Roiling Bog was really good, and Sucking Ooze is really good. Just Isolates are really good. Once you are actually able to clear lands, which, you know, took us like until turn 5 or so, but then it started becoming really nice. And yeah. Didn't actually matter. Accelerated Rod. Like, we played a major instruments once, and it killed like, I guess it killed a town and added a strife, and the strife was actually useful. So it's not like it was useless, but it was definitely a bad first major draw compared to what could have been. Also a bad second major draw compared to what could have been. And we still won, and I'm pretty proud of that. Anyway, good game.